Alright everyone, we're back. I'm about to wrap up this little demo here, and the thing I'm going to show you today is tracing precedents. Now what is that all about? What we would like to know is, for example, this is a formula which is the income minus expenses. What cells are needed in order to produce this value? Tracing precedents allows us to determine that. Okay? This is a very handy thing to be able to do because you can check whether your formulas are set up correctly or not. Okay? So, we find tracing precedents by going to the formula ribbon. Okay? Not the home ribbon. Now, here under formula auditing, you should see an option here for trace precedents. Hit it once. Now this is the highlighted cell to start out with. Okay, so this says this value depends on these two. Obviously it does. It's this one minus this one, income minus expenses. Now we can continue that by hitting it again. Where do these two values come from? What cells do they depend on to produce these values? Hit it again, and there they are. Now, this is a good way to tell whether you're actually referencing or whether you're copying values. This formula says equals G22. If you didn't have that set up, if you had just copied that number there or this number here, then trace precedents would show nothing because you had copied the number and not referenced it. Okay? You lose the link in the chain. Alright? Now, let's continue it again. Trace precedents again. And here we go. All the total for expenses depended on these values. Okay? And these values are all typed in. I don't expect them to go anywhere after this. But here, the total rent, that's calculated from the rent from area and the rent from sales. So if I do another trace precedents, shouldn't be surprised to see these two now being referenced. Hit it again. I don't know what happened there. I'm going to try that again. Alright, I must have hit the wrong button or something. Anyway, continuing that, this one says that the rent from the area is calculated on area and on this rate per square feet. Also, the rent from the sales is calculated based on the sales and this 0.5% right here in this cell. Okay? That's how you do a trace precedents. Okay, now when you save this file, it's not going to save the arrows. Tracing precedents never appears in a file. It's simply there for your benefit to see whether or not these formulas are set up right. If you want to remove them, you can just click on this under formula auditing and they go away. As long as I'm here, I might as well show you how to trace dependents. Okay, let's say we take the 0.95. When you're tracing dependents, you're asking the question, what cells use this cell in their calculations? Okay, that's a descendant. Alright, so I'll start with this cell, the 0.95, trace the dependent. Sorry, I keep calling it a descendant. And do it again. Okay, rent from area is the first dependent for this value of 0.95. Find another dependent. Total rent is calculated using that. And this total value is calculated using that. Continue. That one as well. And this creates the total income. And finally, we should have that pointing to the final net value. And there we go. These are the sets of dependents for the value 0.95 in this sheet. Okay, is that cool or what? Yeah. So that concludes this little demo. The E4 assignment will be very similar to this. So good luck, everyone.